Namaste and welcome to today's full moon Hatha yoga practice. Please make sure you have 2 yoga blocks and a strap. You may even like to sit on a pillow or a blanket to begin. We're going to have a physical focus of hip openers, which means more specifically turning out the thighs at the hips. So let's begin in some version of sitting with the legs turned out like that. Maybe cross-legged. You might find it helpful to prop your pelvis up high enough so that your knees can drop open more easily. As you're getting situated, grounding yourself physically, tuning into the breath. I want to share an experience yesterday as I drove out of town to meet a friend and celebrate the full moon early with her. With a full moon ritual, and it started with a float therapy session. If you're not familiar with that, it's where you go into a room, a very small room. It's 1 per person, and inside of the room, this particular float therapy studio, you have a capsule, sort of like an MRI scan, but a little bigger. And it's filled with water that's lukewarm and Epsom salt. So you go inside that, close the door, and the lights are off, and you're floating in the water in pitch black darkness. And the point is to have 0 stimulation as much as possible so that you're in an induced state of meditation. So I got in the tank, closed the door, and as I was lying down in the darkness, the water started to go into my ears. And so I decided I'd go out and grab some earbuds and come back in. And as I was lying there, I had been disoriented. And in the dark, I couldn't find the button to turn on the light. And I was sliding my hands all around the inside of this capsule, which is kind of like a large coffin. And I couldn't find the light switch. I started to panic mentally. I started to visualize myself being trapped and finding it a little more difficult to breathe because it was also warm in there. And I remember that I had to lock the door in which the capsule was in outside so nobody could come in. And I was thinking, wow, I think I'm trapped in here and I don't know how to get out. And I envisioned myself starting to hyperventilate and panic and ultimately dying alone. And then this quiet voice inside of me said, just breathe. I listened to that, slowed down my mind a bit, and started to reach up towards the inner ceiling and found a handle, opened it, got out of the capsule, got my earbuds, got back in, and this time I left the door open in the capsule as I lay in the darkness floating. And the rest of the hour of the session was so peaceful and relaxing, ironically. And it just brings me to the notion of fear, specifically one that I personally seem to have a large attachment to, which is fear of death, abhinavesha. And as I've explained this before, this is one of the root causes of suffering according to yoga philosophy. And fear of death can manifest in different ways. It's also the fear of the unknown, the fear of losing everything that you knew, the fear of completely surrendering. And I am very thankful for this revelation of how it exists within. And it just comes back to the theme of the full moon itself. Often when we're honoring the full moon, it's about tuning into what areas of your life, habits, thought patterns, fears that you may need to release or set intentions to release so that you can have a lighter load on your soul journey so that you're able to live to your highest well-being. And an important part of planting the seeds for what you'll let go of is noticing how you relate to that which you might be clinging to, whether it's fear of death or fear of unworthiness, or other things. Whatever it is that we might be so attached to, that we have such a grip on and find difficult to let go, those can be one of our biggest teachers to awakening. So my prompt to you as we set our tone and intentions for this full moon practice is to look inside and observe with compassion and kindness. Is there anything that you might feel that you're clinging to and in effect might be causing suffering within, even the slightest bit, or maybe causing misperception? And in that, might you be ready to plant the seed of, or set the intention of releasing for your greater well-being and for that of all around you? And so with that, let's begin our practice first by checking in, sitting still, maybe closing the eyes, scanning your body in your mind's eye to become aware of what it's feeling. Sensing what feels alive in your body right now. Holding that with loving kindness, become aware of the quality of your breath without changing it. Through the breath, sense the way you feel energetically right now. Observing without judging, notice what your mind is focusing on or has been focusing on. And how you are relating to that. Notice how you feel at your heart emotionally. And then let's open the heart a bit through gratitude. To what, for what would you like to offer gratitude in this moment? So with that opening heart space, now invite in your intention for this full moon practice. Is there anything calling you to release, to let go of, or to start by setting the intention? And then is there anyone you would like to offer up today's practice for their well-being? So making a dedication of your efforts for someone else. And let the breath in a little slower through the nose, a little slower through the lips, releasing any last bit of stagnant air from the lungs. Let's prepare to open the space by creating resonance, chanting the vibration of Om 3 times. Let's begin to use breath regulation, specifically Ujjayi Pranayama, victorious breathing, to help calm and steady our minds and bodies. So closing your lips, softly narrow the back of your throat and invite a gentle, smooth whispering sound as you breathe evenly and slowly in and out through your nose. feeling the fullness and the emptiness of each breath. See if you can keep this gently audible sound rhythm going through much of our physical Hatha yoga practice. And as you listen to that, please lower onto your back. Come on down to the floor, lying down. Bend your knees into your chest and take hold of your bent knees with your hands. And let's start to slowly loosen up the hip region. Inhale, circle your thighs apart. Exhale, close your knees together. Keep going. Inhale, the thighs split open. Exhale, rotating. So several more cycles of breath here. And switch directions if you haven't already. Feel into the sensations around your inner thighs, your outer thighs, your groins, all around your hips. Step your left foot on the ground and cross your right ankle over your left thigh like a figure four shape. Make sure that you're flexing your right foot, curling the toes towards the right knee to stabilize the knee. Start by pressing your right hand on your inner right thigh, close to the hip, not close to the knee. And as you rest your head and shoulders down, grounding both hips, we'll just help to splay open the right thigh for a few deep breaths. Notice any sensations that might be arising or shifting. Now you could stay here longer if there are plenty of sensations happening, or you can thread the right hand between your thighs and hold the left thigh or shin with both hands and thread the needle, gently bringing the left thigh towards you as you continue to splay your right thigh open. You might nudge it with your right arm. Make sure you're still flexing your right foot. Let's tune into about 3 more slow, even breaths. So as your right thigh is turned out, it's in external rotation at your hip socket. Step your 2 feet on the ground and pause for 1 cycle of breath. Just let the hips unwind from that. Now externally rotate your left thigh at the hip. Cross the ankle over your right thigh and flex your left foot. Keep the right foot on the floor and use your left hand to gently press away your inner left thigh. Making sure you're not pressing your knee, but rather close to your hip. Another deep breath here. And then notice if your body's asking for you to stay in this position longer. Otherwise, thread the left hand between your thighs and hold your right thigh or shin with both hands, gently bringing the right leg towards you. As you continue to splay your left thigh open, maybe nudging it with your left arm, flexing your left foot, and resting your head and shoulders on the ground. 3 more deep breaths. Now this time, imagine a frog lying on its back. Start with your knees bent at 90-degree angles. Flex your feet, and from your hips, not your knees or your ankles, but from your hips, splay your thighs open, keeping your knees bent 90 degrees. Just to whatever degree you comfortably can. We're not trying to force or even go 100%. Maybe about 60 or 70. You can rest your arms on your inner thighs, grounding your tailbone from your lower belly inward towards the spine, slightly activating your abdomen to help lengthen your lower back. Relax the shoulders down, lengthen your neck. Couple more deep breaths in supine frog pose, Supta Mandukasana. So now we're externally rotating the thighs and we're moving them away from the midline of your body, the latter, which is called abduction. Abduction. Now bring your hands to your outer thighs and gently close your legs together. Now hugging your knees, begin to rock and roll forward and back along the length of your spine several times. Build enough momentum so that you can eventually rock all the way forward to stand at the top of your mat in a forward fold, separating your feet hips distance or wider apart and parallel to each other as you bend your knees generously. Let's open up the fronts of the shoulders and chest. Reach the hands behind your lower back to clasp or hold a strap between the hands. And as you breathe in, firm in the belly and lift your chest forward, roll the shoulders back. Keep shifting your weight forward as you bow, dropping your head. Let's stay here a few breaths, stretching the arms away from your lower back. Bending your elbows slightly to lift the shoulder bones away from your neck. And you might gently shake and nod your head a few times to help loosen your neck. Tune into the sound of 3 more breaths here. This version of Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Now press your fingertips either onto blocks in front of your feet, your shins, or the ground itself as you inhale to lengthen your spine forward to half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana again. This time press to your feet and firm in the belly as you inhale to rise slowly all the way to stand, raising your arms overhead as you gently back bend, Urdhva Hastasana. Join your hands in prayer and trace them from your crown, exhaling to your heart center, Padasana. In your mind, invite you to say your intention again for this full moon practice. And offering gratitude to both the sun and the moon. Let's begin sun salutation C. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead, and again, coil your chest up. Exhale, bow forward from your hips. Plant your fingertips on the ground. Inhale, step your left knee behind you. Kneeling lunge, look up. As you hold your breath, step into plank pose, top of a push-up. Slowly exhale, lower knees, chest, then chin, Ashtangasana. Inhale, slide forward onto the ground in Cobra. Gently roll the shoulders back. Exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips, back to downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot forward beside your left thumb and lower your right knee, gazing up. Exhale, step your right foot forward and fold. Inhale, rise, arms overhead in Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, trace your palms in prayer from your crown to your heart. One more time, side 2. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. Plant your fingertips down. Inhale, step the right knee back, look up. Hold the breath and step to plank. Exhale, lower knees, chest, then chin. Inhale, slide to the floor in Cobra, Bhujangasana. Exhale, your hips back, downward dog, or Urdhva Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, step right foot forward, left knee down, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, step left foot forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, root down to rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands in prayer in mountain pose, Padasana. Tuning into the breath, let's move into Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, arms up. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. This time, press your hands on blocks of the floor. Inhale, lift the chest forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Step into plank and keep lifting the belly as you exhale to glide forward. This time, hug the elbows to your ribs, lower halfway in Chaturanga Dandasana. Lower to cobra or flip the toes here and inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Invite you to still your body for 3 breaths, tuning in to the balance of inhale and exhale. As you've emptied the 3rd breath, prepare to walk or float to the front of your mat. Step the feet up, inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to prayer. One more time, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, step to plank. Exhale, lower through Chaturanga Dandasana. Take it through your vinyasa, back to downward dog on your own. Pausing and downward facing for 3 breaths. This time, bring your feet together at the rear of the mat. Then inhale, raise your right leg behind you. As you exhale, bend your right knee and rotate the thigh externally at the hip. Take a few breaths circling the right leg in the air, just helping to warm and lubricate your right hip joint. Evenly press your both hands, relax the neck, steady the breath. As you inhale, raise the right leg again straight behind you with the hips squared towards the ground. And as you exhale, round into plank, bending the knee towards your nose. Softly as you can, step the foot forward between your hands. Warrior 2. Spin the left heel down and cartwheel the arms rising. So right away, steady your gaze past the right hand. Bending your right knee directly over the heel. Firm the outer edge of your left foot into the earth. Wrap your right outer hip beneath you as you firm the top of your left thigh bone back. Soften the shoulders down as you lift through the back of your skull. 3 more breaths in Virabhadrasana 2. Let's straighten the right leg, prepare for triangle pose. Glide your hips towards your rear wall, lengthening your torso towards the front. Plant your right fingertips either on your right thigh or shin, or just to the right of your right leg on a block or the floor. Keep wrapping the right hip underneath you and tack the crease of your right hip back towards your left outer foot. Keep lengthening the crown of your head towards the front wall as you send both of your shoulder blades down your back. Spiral your chest slightly to face the moon above, stacking your shoulders and wrists. See if you can lighten the weight of your right hand. Last 3 breaths in Trikonasana. Now let's prepare for half moon pose. Gaze down ahead of your right foot. Steady your breath. Shift your weight forward and plant your right fingertips on a block or the floor, about 6 inches ahead of your right pinky toe out to the right corner. Drag your left foot forward and flex it off the floor, imagining you're pressing against your rear wall with the instep of that left foot. Open the chest to face your left wall, stacking your shoulders over your right wrist. And just like in triangle, tack the crease of your right hip back towards your left outer foot. Let's tune into 4 more breaths here in Ardha Chandrasana, a posture to honor the moon. Sweep your left arm overhead and place the hand down beside the right. Standing splits, rotate your left outer hip to face the front of the room and tack the right hip crease back, bowing into your right shin. You might walk the hands closer to your right foot. You might play with your balance by wrapping an arm or 2 around the right calf. Tune into about 4 more breaths. Try to relax your neck, your face, your jaw. Step the left foot all the way to the rear of your mat. Set the left knee on the ground. Scoot the right foot to the right until your legs are hips width apart. Energetically drag the legs towards each other without visibly moving your legs. Sweep the arms up into Anjaneyasana. So as you lift your frontal hip bones, slightly activating your lower belly, square your hips evenly to face forward and lengthen your tailbone down towards your right inner heel. Lift your back ribs, hug in the front ribs, and coil your chest up. Hands apart or together as you relax your shoulders. Land your gaze on one focal point to help steady the mind, relaxing your eyes for 3 more breaths. Lifting your spine upright. Bring the right foot a little closer to you until your left hip is right on top of your left knee and your right knee is right on top of your right ankle. Let's prepare for a spinal twist. Use your right hand to cup the top of the right thigh down and still as you raise the left arm. Breathe in and lengthen your spine forward. Keep the hips still and breathe out, twist to the right by turning the rib cage. Either lower your left hand on a block or the floor right beneath the left shoulder and raise the right arm up, or hook the left elbow outside of your right thigh, joining your hands in prayer, opening your arms apart, or binding. You might even choose to come into a high lunge, lifting the back knee. Let's stay for about 5 more breaths in this version of twisting side angle pose. Harita Harshvakanasana. Keeping your hips leveled. Invite the twist to deepen across your waistline. Inhale as you lengthen your spine forward some more. And exhale as you keep twisting. Now look down at your right foot, lower your hands, step to downward facing duck. Inhale deeply. Exhale to empty. 2 more rebalancing breaths. Staying in downward dog, step your feet together to touch. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, bend the left knee and rotate the thigh externally at the hip. Staying for a few breaths as you circle the leg a few more times, warming up the hip joint. Inhale, straighten the left leg behind you, square your hips again. Then exhale, round into plank. Bend the knee high towards your nose to quietly land the foot forward between the hands. Spin the right heel down, align heel to arch as you inhale to warrior 2. Right away, steady your gaze on one spot just beyond the left fingertips, or close your eyes. Feel the flow of your breath. With the body still, bend your left knee directly above the heel as you firm the right outer foot down. Rotate your left outer hip under your body as you firm the top of your right thigh bone back. Relax the shoulders right above your hips as you lift up through the back of your skull. Last 3 breaths here in Virabhadrasana 2. Let's prepare for triangle pose. Straighten the left leg, glide your hips towards your rear wall, and lengthen your torso towards the front. Place your left hand on your left shin or thigh, or just to the left of your left leg, on a block or the floor. Tack the crease of your left hip back towards your right outer foot while you lengthen the crown of your head towards the front wall, sending the shoulder blades both down your back. Spin your chest slightly to face the sky. Again, land your eyes on one focal point, and let's listen to 4 more breaths. See if you can lighten the weight of the left hand. Trikonasana. Let's prepare for half moon pose. Gaze at the ground ahead of your left foot. Keep the breath calm and balanced. Place the left fingertips about 6 inches ahead of the left pinky toe out to the left corner. Drag your right foot in and flex it off the ground. Turn your chest to face the right wall, stacking your shoulders over your left wrist. About 4 more breaths here in Ardha Chandrasana. Sweep the right arm overhead to land the hand beside the left, standing splits. Turn your right hip to face the front of your mat and down, lifting the right leg as you might walk the hands closer to your left foot and bow. You might even catch hold of the left calf with one or both arms. Soften the back of your neck. Last 2 breaths here. Now, gently as you can, step the ball of your right foot to the rear of your mat, lower the right knee. Step the left foot to the left enough until your legs are hips distance apart. Kneeling lunge. Isometrically drag the legs towards each other to stabilize your balance as you lift the arms up. Lift your frontal hip bones and seal in and down your front ribs. Draw the tailbone forward towards your inner left heel as you roll the shoulder heads back, lifting the heart. Hands apart or together. About 3 more breaths here in Anjaneyasana. Now lifting your spine vertically again. Scoot your left heel close enough to you until your right hip stacks above the right knee and your left knee above the left heel. Let's prepare to twist. Cup the top of your left thigh with your left hand. Raise the right arm and inhale as you lengthen your spine forward. Keep your legs still and exhale, rotate your rib cage to the left. Try to enter the same version of the twist as you did on the first side. Right hand down, left arm up, or right elbow hooked outside of the leg. Hands in prayer, arms apart, or bind. Maybe you lift the back knee and come into a high lunge. Parita Parshvakonasana. As you inhale, keep lengthening your spine down the midline of your mat. Relax the shoulders both away from the ears, and as you exhale, still your hips even in height and continue to spin the rib cage. 4 more breaths. Look at your left foot, plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Pause here for 3 rebalanced breaths. Lifting the hips high and back as you press your chest towards your shins. Roll your triceps towards the ground, relaxing your neck. Bend your knees, look past your fingertips. Empty the breath, then walk or float to the front of your mat. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Grab your 2 blocks and let's place them on their tallest height, about a foot in front of your feet, as wide apart as your shoulders distance. With your feet touching each other, bend your knees together to touch, sitting in chair pose. Let's breathe a little more with balance and hip opening. Join your hands in prayer at the heart and externally rotate the right thigh at the hip. Flex your right foot and cross the ankle over your left thigh like a figure 4 shape. Now try to evenly draw your hips back and down as you firm in the belly, relax the shoulders and breathe. Send your left shin back so that your left knee is not hovering in front of the left heel, but is stacked on top of the left heel. You might raise the arms, you might lower your fingertips on blocks or the floor. There's also an option to arm balance in flying single pigeon. If you want to do that, hands are flat on the ground, a foot in front of the left foot. And as you gaze ahead of the fingertips on the floor, you shift your weight forward and bend the elbows back like chaturanga. Crossing the right shin on top of your upper arms as you wrap the right foot, top of the foot around the left tricep. Shift the weight forward and maybe lift the left leg straight behind you, flexed. How's the breath? Come back to figure 4, chair pose, arms up. Breathe in here. Then exhale, rise, join the hands, step into mountain pose, and pause for a couple of breaths. Sense your energy. Sense your body. With calm, even ujjayi breaths. If your blocks have walked away, set them up again, a foot in front of your feet, tallest height. Step your feet together to touch and bend your knees in chair. Externally rotate your left thigh at the hip, and as you flex the left foot, cross the ankle over the right thigh. Send the hips back and down. Just take it at what's available. Finding a balance of effort with ease. About 4 more breaths where you are. Take your time coming back to figure 4, chair pose. And exhale to rise into hands in prayer, mountain pose. Pause, tune inward, maybe close the eyes for a few breaths. What feels present for you right now? Reconnect with your intention. If relevant, what are you planting the seeds to release this full moon season? And how are you moving your body with that knowing, with that intention? Let's turn to face the wide width of the mat and step or jump your feet wide apart as you turn out both thighs from the hips, pivot the feet open so that your knees are turned open the same degree as your feet, bending both knees into full moon pose. So try to keep the pelvis upright rather than spilling it forward. Lift the frontal hip bones, draw the tailbone down. Raise the palms to face up as you bend the elbows. Maybe bring the thumb and first fingers to touch. Sinking the hips, lift the spine. Splay the inner thighs open. Tune into 5 deep breaths. Center on the sound of your breathing. Straighten the legs, pivot your feet to face the front, and cartwheel your hands to plank pose, top of a push-up. From plank, glide forward and slowly lower through chaturanga and all the way down. Let's practice our last 3 active back bends. Rest your forehead on the floor, interlace your fingers behind your lower back, and keep your legs straight while pressing the tops of your feet firmly into the ground. Inhale, roll your shoulders back, coiling your chest up. Stretch the knuckles of your hands towards your heels. Bound locust pose. Stay for your count of 5 or so deep breaths before you let go to rest. Now, if your lower back feels safe, no strain, you can lift your feet off the floor, parallel to each other, knees no wider than hips width apart. When you're done, let everything go. Fall to the earth. Rest for 3 breaths, observing how you feel. Second of 3 back bends. I invite you to bow pose, Dhanurasana. Slide the knees close together. Rest your forehead on the ground. Then bend both knees and reach back with both hands. Catch hold of your inner or outer feet or ankles. If you're holding your ankles, flex your feet. Press your pubic bone into the ground and kick your feet away from you while you pull your feet towards you, lifting your knees high, no wider apart than your hips distance. Draw your shoulder heads back and look slightly down to lengthen the back of your neck. 5 or more deep breaths, your count. When you're done, again, rest in stillness and awareness for 3 breaths. Our last back bend, I invite you into bridge pose. So find your way onto your back, whichever direction you want to place your head. Bend your knees and step your feet on the ground. If you're wanting some lower back additional support, hug a block by the skinniest width between your knees and thighs. With your arms down by your sides, slide your feet back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite. Parallel your feet apart and grounding them in your shoulders, tilt your chin back. When you're ready, breathe in and lift your pelvis high off the floor, stretching the fronts of your thighs forward and energetically, not visibly, dragging your heels back for 5 or more deep breaths. Walk the upper arms closer together under your back ribs. While keeping your arms straight, if your hands touch, you might interlace your fingers. Breathe into your heart space. Open your throat. Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, bridge pose. When you're ready to, exhale as you slowly lower your upper back, middle back, tailbone last. Put the block aside and windshield wiper your shins side to side, keeping your feet on the ground, gently releasing and massaging your lower back. Breathe in through the nose. Begin to breathe slower out through the lips a few times. Cooling down through this breath regulation technique. Unlike the sun, the energy of the moon is associated with slowing down and being still, self-nurturing, introspection, personal reflection. When the sun shines the light on the moon, and we call it a full moon, it illuminates the parts of the moon that usually we don't see. This is a metaphor also to our own minds. During the full moon, you might experience heightened emotions, The things that have been there, but we just feel them more strongly, especially if you're very energetically sensitive. So it's a time that we can harmonize with this knowledge that the moon and sun are helping to illuminate within us of what we may need to tend to that we don't give our usual attention. Start to turn over to one side so you can rise up to sit. Come on up to tabletop pose, all fours. From hands and knees, raise your right arm to the sky and thread it under your left, bend to elbow for thread the needle. Twisting at your waistline as you rest the right side of your head down. Feel free to place your head on a block if it doesn't touch the ground easily. Level out the hips and let the twist happen right under your rib cage. About 5 more breaths, slower exhalations. Gently press up to all fours. Take your time raising left arm up on an inhale. And exhale, sliding it under the right, bend to elbow. Rest the left side of your head all the way down. Feel free to use a prop. Level out your hips, stabilize the lower back, and invite the twist across your waistline. 5 long exhalations. Take your time rising into child's pose or sinking the hips to your feet. Bring the feet together to touch. Rest the forehead down for a few breaths. You could also open up the triceps here by planting the bent elbows on the ground to frame your head. As you bring the palms towards prayer, tracing the thumbs down the back of your neck. Feel the weight of your body sinking towards the center of the earth. Through the help of gravity, sensing all the different ways that you are supported on this life journey. All the ways that we see with our human eyes, and all the ways that we don't see with our physical eyes, but can sense when we really listen. Release one more long exhalation through the mouth here. And then gently roll your spine upright, sliding your legs out in front of you. You might like to grab a strap as we set up for half cow face pose, Ardha Gomukhasana. Straightening the left leg, step the ball of your left foot into the strap. And then take your right thigh and cross it as much as you can over your left thigh, so that maybe your knees stack down the midline of your mat. Just a moment here. Can you close the curtain, please? Thank you. Give yourself enough slack as you're holding the strap so your shoulders can relax down. And press your 2 sitting bones down. Flex your left foot as you kick it into the strap, gently pulling the strap towards you, and lift up from the base of your spine through each vertebra, through the back of your skull. Keep your throat open, shoulders relaxed, and begin to hinge forward from your hips each time you breathe out. Pausing when you breathe in to root the pelvis more heavily and lengthen the spine some more. Press down to your sitting bones. Breathe in and start to lift your chest, leading from the heart to rise. Transfer the strap, if you're using it, to the ball of your right foot and cross your left thigh as much as you can over the right. Ground your sitting bones, sit tall, breathe in, and exhale, hinge little by little from the hips. Press down through the hips, breathe in, slowly rise. Let's straighten both legs. Step both feet into the strap if you're using one. Inhale, lift up through the center of the spine. Exhale, hinge forward, Paschimottanasana. Now, if you can reach without rounding the back or straining the shoulders, clasp your big toes with your peace fingers. Root down through the hips, breathe in, slowly rise. Please find a comfortable way to sit as we move into pranayama to help tune inward, relax the nervous system, and bring balance to the left and right hemispheres of the brain. Now, if you're sitting cross-legged, and you did in the first part of this practice, I invite you to switch the cross of the legs that default. So switch it up. And as you're sitting tall, relax the whole body. Invite you into Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, or alternate nostril breathing, where you close your lips, and you might close the eyes as well when you're practicing, steadying the gaze towards your pineal gland at the center of your brain, imagining the color indigo, if you like, to stoke your third eye center, Ajna chakra. Rest the left hand on your lap. You might bring the thumb and first fingers to touch with the palm face up, which invites a more meditative focus. The right hand is in Vishnu Mudra, sticking out your thumb, pinky, and ring fingers. As you close your lips, we will close the right nostril with the right thumb like this. And we'll close the left nostril with the right ring and pinky fingers like this. Alternate nostril breathing. Let's practice 3 cycles together, and then continue 2 cycles on your own. When you finish, just let go of controlling the breath and notice how you feel. Prepare to begin, sitting tall and relaxed, maybe closing the eyes, gazing towards the center of your brain. Empty this breath. Cover your right nostril with your right thumb. Inhale through the left. Hold the breath in. Close left nostril. Exhale through right. Hold the breath out. Inhale through right. Hold the breath. Close right. Exhale through left. Hold the breath. Cycle 2. Inhale left. Hold. Close left. Exhale right. Hold. Inhale right. Hold. Close right. Exhale left. Hold. Cycle 3. Inhale left. Hold. Close left. Exhale right. Hold. Inhale right. Hold. Close right. Exhale left. Hold. Continue 2 more cycles on your own. done, let go of controlling the breath. Rest in natural breathing and observe anything you feel, anything you sense. And gently begin to lower your body entirely onto the ground. Find a comfortable way to lie down and rest in stillness for a few minutes of Shavasana. Closing the eyes, natural breath, loving awareness. As you let your body rest here a little longer, with eyes closed, sense your body again. Notice how it's feeling now. Start to rub your thumbs across your fingertips. Feel the sensations in your hands. Begin to wiggle your toes, feeling your feet. Little by little, stretching your body slowly and gently, waking it up. Still keeping the eyes closed if you can, helping you to tune inward. Gradually roll over onto your right side and rest your head, allowing a few moments to observe the natural breath. and sense how you feel now energetically. And take your time rising up. Find a comfortable way to sit for 5 minutes in meditation. This will be a briefly guided meditation as we focus on your full moon intention. So sitting tall, relaxed, you might bring thumb and first fingers to touch, palms face up on your lap in Gyan Mudra. Close your eyes or steady a soft gaze downcast. Let's begin. Sense the natural breath coming and going. Feel free to bring your awareness back to the breath anytime your awareness wanders away from your meditation. I invite you to restate in your mind your intention on this full moon. Specifically, if there is anything you are intending to begin releasing in any aspect of your being or life. You might begin with a phrase, I let go of, and I welcome. Remembering that it's sort of like spring cleaning. When you get rid of the clothes you haven't worn in a long time because they're just taking up space, adding weight and baggage. So as you release what you're no longer using in support of your well-being, you've created more space for what is supporting your well-being. And with that starts the phrase, I welcome. What are you welcoming by letting go of the other? For example, I release thoughts of self-judgment. I welcome feelings of worthiness. Or I release clinging to the past. I welcome the ability to move forward. And now I invite you to spend the next 2 minutes visualizing your life having released that which is no longer serving your well-being. What does it look like to celebrate life moving forward, energy flowing freely through you, freedom from what was holding you back? Use your imagination to paint the experience and let it feel like a lived experience in the now. Now sit in the knowing that all possibilities are available to you when you allow yourself to experience them. May all beings be happy and free, and may my thoughts, words, actions contribute to happiness and freedom. You might join your palms in prayer at your heart, sensing the way you feel now in your mind and in your heart. And then allow a moment of gratitude for anything that you appreciate in this moment. Gratitude to all kinds of teachers in our lives, formal teachers and the day-to-day teachers of life circumstance, challenges, all providing lessons to awaken on the spiritual path. And then remember again your intention for this practice today. Remember to whom you dedicated this practice. And let's close with 3 ohms, resonating from the heart. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.